My name is Sipho Nkosi. I'm occupying the office of the director as an IT director at the SALGC. SALGC is a non-profit organization which was started in 2019 by leaders and people who want to be the change that they want to see in the world. These are the leaders that have stopped complaining about the situation and the what you call and the current direction of our country and our families as well. And what we stand for is the men getting back to where God wanted them to be, and that is the leader in their families. That is the leader in their families, and that is a leader in the communities. That is a leader in every space that a man occupies. We know currently the different definitions or labels that are given to men and as trash, and we want to change that narrative. So how we want to do that is to empower the men to make sure that they become what God has created them to be. One of our pillars is called emancipation of a man's mind, taking a man from bad to good. That is pillar number one. How we do that, this is partially how we do it in terms of leadership lectures, where we bring in leaders in their own space and excellent leaders in their own space and well-equipped, well-traveled and well-empowered leaders to give us all different discussions and presentations from their own expertise. Our role is to simply share the information. The Bible also says that people do not have knowledge and they are dying because of lack of knowledge. We are trying to bridge that gap. We are an NPO, non-making, profit-making organization. We are not in politics. We do not intend to be politicians, but we want to play the role of being the leaders in our own society. We want leadership to start in the families. When the husband becomes the head of the family, the head of the family doesn't mean he doesn't want to listen, he just does as he pleases, but he becomes the visionary provider and the teacher in his own family. He doesn't outsource leadership or training to the school. And you'll hear a person or a father saying, "Kanti, what do they teach you at school?" That simply tells you that that person has outsourced their responsibility to the teachers. And that's no wonder most of our kids listen to the teachers more than they listen to their own parents, because the parents have stopped to be their parents. Our role is, we've got many programs that we have started at SALGC. One of them is Liwa Labana, where Liwa Labana, it means that a men's cave, where men come together and they assist each other, they empower each other, and they also share the space. I mean, the current narrative says, as we grew up, we're told that a man doesn't cry. But as the two kids are born, two children in the family, whether it's a boy or a girl, they cry as they go. They have issues and they are feeling a pain, or when there's something that is not right in their spirit or in their bodies, they cry. So that's how God created us. But a man has been silenced, that the men do not cry. So we want to create a safe space so that men can come and talk about the issues that affect them. And that if the man is not provided such a space, then all the anger that he bottles inside, when the time he loses, someone loses their lives. We see the high murder rates that are coming now because men do not have a space where they can talk together and they can share the space where they assist each other and grow each other. So we do not want to complain about the current lack of leaders in the community or in the society, but we want to do something about it. That's why we've got SALGC. It's an NPO. We encourage men to join and be members, about 120 rand a year, simply just to make sure that the organization can proceed, and we get you membership cards to show that we are really a change provider in your own society. We do not live in isolation or in some island. We've got women in our own midst. We've got a desk that is called the Friends of SALGC, because they cannot be members of the club, but they are friends of the club, meaning They come in, they shape the programs that we have. They also they come to shape the programs that we have, and they provide the direction. They can also lead some programs because some of the women, if you remember very well, some of us have been raised by women, and it is important that the women that are leading or raising our boys' child, when we are not there, be to economical reasons, they are also empowered to know how to raise the men. So they are there as friends of the SALGC. We encourage them to be involved, to participate as the friends of the club. And we currently have a desk of them. There's no more information on our SALGC website. And that today we've got a very important topic that we are going to talk about. And I had a lot of interest from people that I know to say, hey, daughter, now are you considering polygamy? This is not about me. This is about the information that we bring to the society at large. Now, this is interesting because polygamy, the people are saying that a lot of men, it's a topic that a lot of men want to engage, or it's something that they want to explore, but they're afraid to start the discussion. And women hate such a topic because immediately I start mentioning that, and it becomes a bit tense to say, hey, what are you trying to say about now? So now, luckily, we've got a well-traveled leadership here, Coach Lucas Matjiane. I'm going to read his biography. Coach Lucas Matjiane is a self-proclaimed leader who believes that he has the purpose and the responsibility to lead people from different walks of life out of the power out of poor mindset that are taking people backward instead of moving forward. He discovered this in him many years ago when at the age of 11, he got the opportunity to join the Boy Scouts, where he became the patrol and troop leader, and later the acting scout master when the scout master took a study leave for roughly 2 years. Hailing from a village called Matibe Stand in Amanskral, Coach Lucas Matjiane is a mathematics teacher and a lecturer by profession. He started working back in 1988 as a freelancing radio presenter just after doing his matric in 1987, doing youth music programs at the former Radio Setswana Stereo in Silverton, Pretoria. From being a radio presenter, he moved to being a high school teacher after graduating in 1991, and then college lecturer, a school change facilitator, a senior education specialist, and later a deputy chief education specialist at the Gauteng Department of Education, where he was granted the opportunity to participate as a curriculum writer for the FET College, currently known as TVET colleges. Coach Lucas decided to leave government employment back in 2011 to follow his dream and become a serial entrepreneur. He wrote and published 2 books called Kick That Poverty Out, a book he wrote during the brief visit in Holland, the Netherlands, and another book, Before You Exit School, a book that is raising awareness in young people that there is a lot they need to know of before exiting school. Because that piece of paper called a degree or a diploma is not a guarantee that they will be successful in their lives, especially because we are living in a country that has so many highly educated but poor people. This is a very important book. I think already I want to get my hands on it. Coach, please, let's make it happen. 2 more of his books are being written and are in the process of being published, namely Living the Dream with Cryptocurrency and Defining Polygamy, a book that is underpinned by today's lecture. So we can see that Coach is well researched in this topic, and he's not going just to give us his wish. He's going to give us a full information, and I'm sure those that want to decide for and against will able to do that from the position of information. Coach Lucas Matjiane is a life and successful coach, a public speaker, and an author who is also a manager of his own guest house, a detergents manufacturer, a perfume entrepreneur, perfumepreneur, a poultrypreneur who believes that nothing is impossible. He also agrees with T Ecker, who said, nothing in life has meaning except for the meaning you give it. Today, he's coming here to give us a meaning in terms of his own research, in terms of this polygamy. We've seen a lot of it coming on TV. We've seen of it being popular in certain spheres, and people are taking it left and right. Whether they're doing it out of the right reasons or whether they decided to do it when they could see some people doing it, we do not know. But Coach, I want to take this opportunity to welcome you as you unmute yourself to SALGC. We're looking forward to an empowering lecture, and we want to give you this opportunity to say thank you for taking this time out of your busy schedule to come and empower men and women who want to have information. Now, what is important about information is that if you do not use it, you lose it. There's a term that says, or there's an English saying that says, what you share, you keep forever, but what you keep to yourself, you lose. So, that's why we are here on this club. Thank you very much, Coach. Welcome, and the platform is yours.
Ntate Siponkosi, thank you very much to yourself and your team. And of course, to our guests who are listening from whatever platform they are using to be part of this lecture today, I'm saying welcome, 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 ladies and gentlemen. We are here to talk about this. And of course, now with the disclaimer, I just want to say to you guys, I am not a lawyer who talks about the legality of different types of marriages. That's not what I will be talking about here. I will not be talking about the acts that are governing polygamy and other forms of marriages in line with the so-called customary laws. So please, please, please do not expect me to go there and answer questions related to that, because that's not what I am here for. Now, I just wanted to note at this very, very juncture that as a public speaker, a life coach, and a success coach, my job is to observe life. I'm observing life, I'm studying trends, and I will identify channels in life, the kind of channels that can enable people to address and find solutions to some of the challenges that they encounter or that life is throwing at them on daily basis. I know that many people who are afraid of, especially polygamy, they will tell you about the challenges that they saw other polygamists. Hence, I am saying part of my job is to make sure that I will identify the channels that can assist such people to make sure that if they go into polygamy, they will do so with confidence. The next thing, I just want you to know that I am also not here to come and impose anything on you. I'm not here to impose my belief system. I'm not here to impose perhaps my passion about polygamy itself or the principles that I am having as an individual, about polygamy. But I'm just here to share with you so that you may be able to decide whether you are for polygamy or if you are against polygamy. That's basically the purpose of me being here. Now, I just want to set the tone for this meeting or this lecture, ladies and gentlemen. Now, in setting the tone for that, I have three statements. The statements that I want you to start noting before we can even get deeper into what we are going to talk about here, because those statements will show you where I am going with the topic itself, redefining polygamy. Now, let's go into statement number one. Statement number one says, nothing in life will be meaningful to people or to you as a person unless you understand its purpose. And of course, polygamy is not an exception. If you don't understand its purpose, there is no way in which you will be able to see meaning in this polygamy. You cannot see value in polygamy if you don't understand why people opt for polygamy or polygamous marriages in the first place. So that is the very first statement that I would like you to note, because this statement will inform most of the things that I will touch on today. Okay, having said that, let's move on to the next statement, which is statement number 2. And of course, with statement number 2, I am borrowing words from this gentleman called T. Half Acre. T. Half Acre once said, "Nothing in life has meaning except for the meaning you give it." I know that we do have people who are criticizing polygamy simply because of the very meaning that they have decided to give to it. And of course, there are those who will be for polygamy simply because the meaning that they have attached to it is positive, and that's what they believe in. Hence, polygamy will always be for them. If you prefer a monogamous kind of a marriage, I'm saying good for you, but do not criticize those who will say, in my case, I think I need to go for polygamy. Because those who do that, they do so because of the very meaning that they have attached to polygamy itself. That was statement number 2. Now we are moving to statement number 3. And of course, with statement number 3, I'm still borrowing words from this English poet. This guy is a poet, a painter, and a filmmaker by the name William Blake. William Blake once said, "To generalize is to be an idiot. To generalize is to be an idiot." You know, I am deliberately repeating this. To generalize is to be an idiot. To particularize is the alone distinction of merit. Now, why would I want you to know a statement like this one in the first place? I just want you to avoid being an idiot, because if you are just going to carry general statement and say, polygamy is bad, polygamy is like this, it's like that, then according to William Blake, you are being an idiot. We therefore are going to try and identify the kind of situations that will show us why some people would go or would opt for polygamy. Are you ready? Okay.
Ready.
Now, my gut feeling, ladies and gentlemen, is telling me that you must be wondering at this stage to say, but why did Coach Lucas choose to talk to us about polygamy? And where is all this interest in polygamy coming from? Is he a polygamist? You know, things like that. Allow me to tell you a story. Back in 1989, I was a second-year student at Vista University. Now, I was in a team of, I think we were seven guys, you know, it was our study group. So one day, after reading our books, after studying in the library, we decided to go and sit somewhere at the back of the lecture rooms, because there was this beautiful lawn where, you know, we could rest as students. Now, once we were there, we spoke about so many things, but somehow, you know, out of the things we spoke about, we found ourselves talking about polygamy. And remember, 1989, doing a second year, in a university simply means that one is still very young. So we spoke about polygamy, with some criticizing polygamy to say, yeah, you see, these men are greedy. Why would you want to go for 2, 3, 4, 5 wives when there are other men who could also marry those people? And there were those who were for polygamy. They were trying to give us, reasons why a human being, a man, would opt for polygamy. So we spoke about that for a very long time, up until I realized that one of us, there was this guy by the name Solomon. Solomon was just silent, looking at us. It was more like Solomon in his mind was saying, but what are you talking about, guys? And once I saw that Solomon was not participating, I decided to challenge. I said, Solomon, come on, man. Why? What's wrong? Are you sick or what? I mean, you are with us here. We are talking about something that you should also participate in, but somehow you are not participating. What is the problem, Solomon? Solomon, he started very slowly to respond. He said, gents, I just want you to listen to me very carefully. At that moment, we were all silent. He said, I want to teach you something about life itself. In life, don't ever again allow yourself to criticize something that you don't know. I can tell that all of you are just speculating because you don't know what you're talking about. Now, let me tell you a story. That was Solomon. He said, when I grew up, I didn't have a father. It was just myself, my mother, and my siblings. And life was so tough. Life was so difficult. My mother was trying so hard to make ends meet, but it was just not happening. Until one day, my mother introduces somebody to us. Young as we were at that time, we just saw Mama's friend. And of course, yeah, he was a friend to our mother. Sure. Now, at that time, everyone wanted to know the story about this friend to Solomon's mother. And he said, once this guy was a friend to Mama, life started to change at home. This guy was always there for us. We no longer go to bed without food because food was always there. Mama was somehow looking happy than before. And for the first time, me being Solomon, I could find myself having more than one pair of shoes because of this friend to Mama. And guys, I want you to know that the reason why I am with you here today, being a university student myself, is because of that very guy. Now, are you telling me that? Are you telling me that Mama should have, sort of avoided being a friend to someone who did all these things to us? Don't you see a value in what this guy was doing in our lives? We just couldn't respond. We were just looking at him because we wanted to get the full story. We wanted to understand what was going on in this guy's mind. And he said, yeah. So as I grow up, that was Solomon. As I grow up, I began to understand now that this guy was not just a friend to Mama. There was more to the relationship between these two. And of course, I came to know who this guy was because he was a father to so-and-so who was staying 3, 4, streets from our home. But basically, what I'm trying to tell you is that even though Mama was not married to this guy, but somehow the relationship was more like the man was in a polygamous relationship since he had his own wife and also mama in the picture. You know, since that day, I must be honest, since that day, I told myself that I am going to go out there and start, researching why this is happening, because it is more like there is value in it. There are people who are benefiting. Let's say within that university, there were maybe close to 30–40% of students who managed to be in that university simply because there were men like the one that Solomon was talking about, men who took it upon themselves to take care of them and make sure that they go to school, they have everything they needed up until they get the degrees and graduate. Today, such people must be somewhere doing well, and it is all thanks to what the gentleman, like the one who was in Solomon's life, did to them. Now, I ended up with so many questions in my mind to say, why? Why are we shying away from the good deeds that some men are ready to offer to people like Solomon and his mother? That's one question. Why can't helping other families or helping other women by men who are ready to take care of 2 or more households be formalized so that it can be done openly as another way to further build this nation? That is my question. Maybe to some of you, doing such a thing is unbiblical. I don't know, you know. But I'm having these questions to say this is something that should be hidden, because there is so much goodness that can be generated out of something like that. Okay, so these questions and others remained in my mind for years, up to a point where I could start differentiating between the two concepts that I would like to touch on right now quickly. That no matter the goodness that may come out of a secret relationship a married man may have with another woman and her kids, for as long as it is kept a secret, it will be called cheating, ladies and gentlemen. And of course, no one wants to be called a cheater. But I'm telling you that that goodness, for as long as you are doing it somewhere at the dark end of the streets, then you are a cheater. And cheating is very dangerous, because in most cases, it lays a foundation for gender-based violence, which is a problem in our country and, of course, the world at large. So, what are we saying? Are we saying that no, let people go on cheating, or are we ready as a society to say, okay, if there is this goodness in what these guys are doing, let's give them the chance? Okay, so that is the first thing. Now, on the other hand, finding a way to formalize such a relationship, that's when we can start to talk about polygamy. Because you will formally marry this other woman as your second wife and freely take care of the 2 households as a man. And of course, through the consent of the first wife, because that's what polygamy is all about. As long as you can make sure that your wife is going to understand the reasons behind it, why you want to marry this other woman, then let polygamy be something that can be done openly. Okay? Now, the story of Solomon is a very unique one, because there are so many other situations in our lives that can also, lead a married man to having a formal relationship with this other woman, who become part of his life. And should that relationship come to a point where marriage is an end product, then we can talk about polygamy, ladies and gentlemen. So basically, I was trying to clarify to those who still don't understand what polygamy is, to say situations where you are going to do exactly what I said. Now that's where we can talk about polygamy. In other words, there are many situations that may call for polygamy as a solution, that has to be, a solution to a problem that has to be resolved amicably. Amongst others, and I'm saying amongst others, there are families and family names that have disappeared like the dinosaur. I mean, so many people, they just know the name dinosaur, but we no longer have dinosaurs in existence. So there are families and the family names that have disappeared like dinosaurs when there was a chance of saving such a family and help to continue the family tree, the family lineage through polygamy. But because people were afraid of what other people will say, they end up not doing a thing about the situation up until the last person who was having the baton in his hand died. But I'm saying polygamy could have assisted in such situations. Okay, allow me to narrow this discussion to a situation where a man, now I'm emphasizing this, where a man parties involved would marry more than one woman and not the other way around. Now, that situation where we have the kind of polygamy where it is a man who is marrying more than one woman, we call it polygyny. So basically, what we are talking about here, ladies and gentlemen, is polygyny. And of course, the opposite of polygyny is what is known as polyandry. and polyandry is not what I'm talking about here. I know I do have friends, and many people out there are asking me, you keep on talking about polygamy, but somehow you don't want to talk about polyandry, and you don't even want to write about polyandry. Why? Those are the questions. And my answer is always very simple. I say to them, just take all the living species that God has created, be it dogs, donkeys, cows, lions, chickens, you mean it. And I just have two males out of these animals to share a space with one female, a female, in that space. I'm telling you, the two males will end up killing each other. It happened with animals. The two will end up killing each other because such an arrangement is so dangerous. So human beings are not an exemption, ladies and gentlemen. Human beings are not an exemption. Where two gentlemen with relationship with this one lady, should one know about the other? Surely you know why I am laughing. There will just be danger. So males and females, whether human beings, whether animals, males and females were not wired for polyandry in terms of what normally happens between the two males in such an arrangement. Okay, so basically the polygamy I am redefining in my book is polygyny and not polyandry. All right. This polygamy that I am talking about, ladies and gentlemen, is also not bigamy, if you know what bigamy is, because bigamy is an illegal act, of secretly marrying another woman while you are still married to another without the consent or even the knowledge of the woman you are married to. So I just want to say to you men that since we are saying that bigamy is illegal, you can even go to jail for doing that. So let us avoid bigamy, because bigamy is very, very dangerous, all right? And a lot of you don't keep that kind of a secret forever. I mean, if you are to tell yourself that, I will marry one and keep her in KZN, and then I'll keep one in Joburg, and then you are married to the two. I'm telling you, there is no way in which you can keep this kind of a secret for forever. If you don't believe me, go to the Bible. Go to the Bible. The Bible in the book Luke chapter 2 says, it says there is nothing covered.
Coach.
That is can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. You broke a little bit when we were still talking about it. Going back to the Bible to find the issue of marrying someone else secretly.
Okay, all right. So can I continue? You hear me, né?
Yes, okay. Maybe you can start repeating by that statement and then proceed.
Okay, I can hear you, but my screen is gone. I don't know what's happening, but in the meantime, let me continue.
We can hear you loud. It's okay. Coach.
For that reason, that I was quoting the Bible in the book of Luke, chapter 12, verse, but that shall not be revealed, not be known. So let's rather avoid bigamy, and it is for that reason that we should try hard to understand this polygamy or polygyny for what it is, so that we may be able to do the right thing. And of course, polygamy is also not a polyamory. Polyamory is the worst kind, of an arrangement that one can find himself or herself in. I'm saying to people, that are close to me, that I'll avoid polyamory. Well, I'm happy that many don't even know about it. It is a very complex form of a relationship, in the sense that partners, the partners who are attached to this one person may also have other multiple partners elsewhere. That's making the whole arrangement so complex. So, ladies and gentlemen, please let us also avoid polyamory. We are talking here about polygyny and not polyandry. We're not talking bigamy. We are also not talking about polyamory. All right. There was this friend of mine. Okay, let me quickly go through this other story. There was this friend of mine who was also a married man, and he was involved with this other woman for years. Okay. The woman was already worried, at the time of this man telling me the story. She felt like this guy was using him, because she also wanted to be a wife to someone and not just a long-term girlfriend. He wanted to leave this man, but somehow the guy couldn't just let go. He loved this woman so much. He loved her so dearly, And he also, loved his wife. So when I spoke to him, he also felt like he had invested a lot in this woman, to let her go. That is another story that also challenged my mind to end up writing a book like this one, to say, but if there are such situations in people's lives, then what can be done to address them? Okay. In situations like this, that's where you would find men killing women who try to force their exit, in order to leave a man. Now, my belief, therefore, is that it is only marrying this woman as your other wife that you can avoid the kind of confusion that men find themselves in today. Otherwise, if you don't do that, she will leave you, and then you will try to force her back and end up killing her. So we are so sick and tired of the cases of gender-based violence. I must say, it is so shocking to see the number of married men out there who are involved in long-term relationships with other women in our societies. And these men are just not ready to let go this other woman. So what do you expect to happen if you are keeping her for such a long time and you are not even prepared to let her go? Okay, and when you look more closely at this kind of situations, you find that this other woman is playing a very vital role in the life of this man, and also vice versa, because the man is also playing a vital role in the life of this woman. But the big problem is that this is a secret relationship. Now, for how long should we allow things like this to happen? Because truly speaking, in principles, there is a very, very high number of men who are secretly living, the life of polygamists by having more than one woman in their lives. But they are not prepared to come out. And for as long as they will remain in that shell, this will be the very cheating that I spoke about. That is so dangerous because now this will be, this kind of a relationship will be more like a balloon that is waiting to explode. So what am I saying with this? What I'm saying is that polygamy or polygyny in its formal sense may help us to flatten the curve of gender-based violence. Many women are being killed, I'm repeating this, for trying to leave men who kept them for years as secret lovers, all right? Now, here is another interesting scripture in the Bible. When you go to the first book of Corinthians, chapter 7, verse 9, it says, but if they cannot control themselves, they should marry, for it is better to marry than to burn with passion. Okay? You can go to your Bible and once more go through that scripture. But if they cannot control themselves, they should marry, for it is better to marry than to burn with passion. I can hear men out there saying, amen. Amen to that. Yes. because they have been burning with passion for so long, and they didn't know what to do because of this secretive relationship. So that the Bible is helping you to say, rather marry, because it's married. It's better to marry than to burn with passion. So I am appealing to all men who are listening to me right now to say, guys, let's stop killing our women. Rather, and I'm saying this, in capital letters, bold and underline, rather, let's marry. Let's marry. Because by so doing, we will be saving the lives of these women. If perhaps you have a spark that says to you, marry this other woman, marry, then I'm saying to you, this book of mine, Redefining Polygamy, will serve as a guide for you to do what is right with your polygamous relationship. Okay. Now, if you agree with me with that, let's go into the book itself. Let's go into the book itself. The book, ladies and gentlemen, comprises of 5 chapters. The book comprises of 5 chapters that in themselves are like the 5 building blocks that will enable you to package your polygamous marriage the right way. Chapter 1. Chapter 1 is called Seeking First to Understand. Seeking first to understand. That is the first chapter. Now, with this chapter, ladies and gentlemen, what am I saying to you? I am saying to you that it will not be of help for you as a person or for us as people to jump into whatever conclusion about polygamy if we don't strive to understand it fully and within the context of our modern day lives. Remember, polygamy has been practiced for many years before, but times are changing. Therefore, if we are saying that polygamy still has the space in our lives today, then in redefining this polygamy, then we also have to come to a point where we say, in our modern day lives, this is how this polygamy can be practiced. And of course, that is my chapter 1. And in this chapter, I am also discussing the different situations, though not all of them, that may call for polygamy. There are so many of them, situations that says it's either you go for polygamy or this is the end of the story, right? So we need to understand such situations so that we may be able to support those who may be compelled by circumstances to opt for, even if polygamy, to still remember the first statement that I said you shouldn't forget, throughout this, I gave you 33 of them. But the first one was saying nothing is meaningful to people unless they understand its purpose. So that is the emphasis of chapter 1, to say there is no way in which polygamy can be meaningful to you if you don't understand its purpose. Therefore, let us seek first to understand the purpose of polygamy. But by so doing, I believe and declare that we will be able to handle it. We will be able to accept those people who are in it, whom we didn't understand before. Okay. There is this thing that I have also observed, that most of the women who are today second wives to their husbands are those who are supposed to be the first wives, or those who are those who are supposed to be the first wives. But when the husband was proposing, to this woman to say, look, I need to marry the second wife. Now, through anger, through confusion, through what people said to this woman, then she decided to quit and leave the man, out of all those things. And you would find that the supposedly second wives is the one who was then married as the first wife. And what happens, or what happened in such situations that I have observed. The one who left would then find time to rethink the whole matter from wherever she's gone to. Now, once she is there, she will seek to understand, but why was this man proposing, polygamy? Is there something wrong with me? Something like that. Only to wake up at that point in time to see the real reasons and then come back later to be the second wife. So can you see how important that we should seek first to understand before we can jump into conclusions, and make sure that we understand the reasons behind this whole thing. And by so doing, I'm telling you, we are going to find ourselves in a situation where we understand this polygamy the right way. All right. And of course, a number of questions are being answered in this chapter, because, there are people who are asking so many questions about this polygamy. But amongst others is a question that says, can a man really and equally love two women and be a trusted father and a husband to the two households and forever be together till death, do all three part? That is the question, okay, that I am also answering in the book itself, or in the chapter itself, okay? Seeking first to understand. And of course, you will realize once you correct the book that my answer, to that question, it's a yes, to say, yeah, it is possible that such a thing can happen, that a man may love, more than one woman, and be able to be with the two till the do all three parts. So that is chapter 1. Chapter 2, it is called, do you have what it takes? Do you really have what it takes? Already, ladies and gentlemen, the question implies something. It implies one thing, that polygamy is not for everyone. It is not for the faint-hearted, men and women, okay? So if you are one of the so-called faint-hearted men, I'm telling you, there is no way in which you may have polygamy being an option for you, okay? But even if polygamy is not for you, I'm still saying to you, go to chapter 1, and seek first to understand, so that you will respect and support those men and women out there who see polygamy as an option, right? Now, I just want you to note that I am saying this men and women, all right, let me put it this way. In fact, what I'm trying to say is that I want you to note that women are not lifeless objects. They are not lifeless objects that a man can just decide to say, okay, I'm going to take four of them. And then he starts collecting them and put them, in his whatever compound, his household, and say, as from today, you are my wives. It doesn't work like that. Women are also human beings who can think, who can decide, who can choose. And of course, there are women who will always choose polygamy as an option. Hence, this question is also directed to women to say, do you have what it takes to be the second wife, who may at times face challenges from the first wife? I mean, obviously, the first wife is not going to take everything, lying down. So, do you have what it takes as a man? Do you have what it takes as a woman? All right. So those are some of the questions, that you should ask yourself, and that is the reason why I am having, this chapter called "Do You Have What It Takes?" Huh? Of course, I've already mentioned that polygamy is not for everyone. And there are so many things in life that are not for us, okay? Success is one of those things, because there are people who are just not wired for success. No matter how hard you may coach that person and try to teach him or her something so that at the end of the day, he becomes successful, that person will just not succeed. So if polygamy is not for you, at least read my book so as to understand polygamy for what it is and be able to support polygamists out there without judging them, okay? Who knows? Perhaps that little boy sitting next to you, just look at him now. If we have a little boy, look at him, look at him. Perhaps that little boy sitting next to you will grow up and be a polygamist one day. Maybe that little girl sitting next to you will one day become a second wife to a man of her dreams. All right. Now, as a parent who does not see polygamy as an option, it does not necessarily mean that you should not understand polygamy because you don't know what is coming. All right. So yeah, do you have what it takes to be a polygamist? That is my question. And to you, gentlemen, I just want you to realize something, that as a polygamist, you are twice the man many other men out there are. Perhaps you are even 3 times such a man. So you have to have what it takes to be that kind of a person. Remember, there are men out there who can't even cope being a father and a husband to just one household. All right. So, okay, can you expect such a man to say, I want to take the second wife, if he is not able to take care of just one household? That's the question. So yeah, that's the question. Did you have what it takes to be a man who will be a father and a husband to 2 or more households? Okay, let's leave it just there. Surely you know your answer, or you know the answer to this question, isn't it? Okay, because I just want you to do what is right when it comes to this polygamy. Okay, let's go to chapter 3. Remember, I said we have 5 of them. Chapter 3 is called the power of the number 3. And of course, you know, those who are close to me, they know that, you know, this is one chapter that I love so much, because it is the core of my redefinition of polygamy or polygyny. All right. Now, why am I talking the power of the number 3? All right. Over the years, we saw polygamists marrying an undefined number of spouses, some 3, some 4, some 7, or even more, only to be stopped by old age or death. And some of these polygamists couldn't sufficiently be there for all these women. Remember, ladies and gentlemen, we all have only 24. We only have 24 hours in a day. That's what we have. We all have 24 hours in a day. Now, if you have, say, 7 wives, how are you going to cope? How are you going to deal with these women? If you can handle even the one you are having as we speak, all right? So I'm using an example in this book, or in this chapter, of a buffet menu. If you find yourself surrounded by, you know, nice, delicious food in a restaurant, I don't expect you to take a plate and just put everything into that plate. because you are going to end up not eating, some of the food that you are that you have in dish. Only what you will be able to consume. Okay, so hence I'm talking about the power of number 3. Maybe you are wondering why the number 3. Okay, I'm not referring to a situation where you will have 3 wives. No, that's not what I'm saying. The 3 involves even the husband. So his husband, that's 1. His wife 1, that's 2, and wife 2, that's 3. Okay, that should be the maximum. That should be the maximum, where there are so many things that require our attention on daily basis. When we will all have just 24 hours a day. I am recommending only 2 spouting of this, the power of the. Why there is so much power in the number 3 that many people do not know of. The Holy Trinity, the 3 Musketeers, and so many other 3s that you can think of that have power in them. Okay, so there is so much power in that number 3. So you can achieve so much more together as a team of 3 with you. I mean, in your polygamous marriage. Okay, I am using an analogy of a triangle in my book. Now, listen to me very carefully. If you know what a triangle is, a triangle is the only polygon that I know of that has 3 sides. That is the first thing. All right. And when you look at the sides, a triangle is the only side touching any other side all at the same time. Hey, I can see you busy trying, to draw a triangle. Now, what do I mean by that? It means as a husband to these 2 ladies, you have easy access to your 2 spouses, unlike someone who has 3, someone who has 4, and so on and so forth. Okay, so I'm not challenging those who have more, but I'm saying that it's better to buy or build 2 houses than having to build 7 houses that you may not be able to build. I'm saying it's better and manageable to do groceries for 2 households as compared to doing that for 3, 5 or more households. Remember, women need to be loved, and having her own house and her own everything as the first or the second wife will make her feel loved. So every woman needs to have things set her own way in her own house. Hence, I'm recommending that rather go for 2, and that's it. So that is the reason why I called this the power of the number 3. All right. Chapter, I said 3. Okay, we are at chapter 4. Chapter 4 is called Living Together Apart. Now, what I'm trying to say, with this chapter, I'm actually preparing you for this chapter 4 already from chapter 3. Okay, because in chapter 3, I'm talking about the power of number 3. Now I'm saying, now these people should live together but apart. Okay, even though you are one family as a team of 3, chapter 4 recommends that each of the 2 wives must have her own home or her own house. Okay, it will then be your responsibility to see how you are going to manage being a present father and a husband in these 2 households. Okay, I've already told you that buying 10 houses, it's not a possibility, but it will always be easy and better to go for only 2. All right. So that's what I mean by living together apart. It becomes so manageable. It becomes so smart. It becomes so exciting. Even if the 2 wives may not see eye to eye, it is going to be easy to resolve this between the two, unlike having to have a group of 10 in front of you and say, ah, guys, come on, stop fighting. Stop fighting. I mean, it will always be a challenge to do such a thing. Okay? The last chapter, chapter 5, is called Don't Just Be Successful, Stay Successful. All right? So much as I talked about the power of number 3, it is my belief that it takes 3 to thrive. Okay? It takes 3 to flourish. It takes 3 to succeed. It takes 3 to blossom. 3 will always be better if you are going to experience success in your polygamous marriage. Okay? Polygamy. Now listen to this one. Polygamy can be used as a poverty alleviating strategist for the 3 of you. Okay? With you and your 2 wives staying together apart. It is happening with polygamists I know of, okay, who are using this model, especially those who are entrepreneurial like myself. So you have these 2 people who are more like your 3rd and your 4th hands. So you have your 2 hands and then the 3rd and the 4th one. So it becomes easy for you to run and go for the things that will see you being successful. Okay, so being successful, ladies and gentlemen, whether in polygamy or monogamy, is something that you must strive to have if perhaps you have been folding your arms. And there is this guy, I wonder if you know him, his name is Mark Tim. Mark Tim once said, whether you like it or not, you are the most influential book your children will read on the subject of character one day. One day, okay? If you're going to be a poor polygamist, hey, my friend, I'm telling you, you will just be in danger. One day, the 2 of you will leave you at the same time, okay? And leave you alone, okay? Maya Angelou, on the other hand, says this. He says, you may not control all the events that happened to you, but you can decide not to be reduced by them. So don't allow, as a polygamist, don't allow situations to sort of reduce you, all right? Fight and make sure that you are going to be successful and remain successful, all right? All the challenges you will come across as a polygamist are not meant to destroy you, but to strengthen you. Therefore, you can decide not to be reduced by this or those challenges, right? I'm sharing with you in this chapter what experts in financial matters and billionaires living a life of abundance recommend, and showing you how to divide your income to make sure that you are going to stay successful as a polygamist, okay? All right, in conclusion, ladies and gentlemen, I'm looking at time. In conclusion, I just want to say it is not about polygamy or monogamy that your marriage will be meaningful to you, but it is about people involved in whatever arrangement you will prefer to go in, whether monogamy or polygamy, right? So if you are the kind of people who understands this redefining polygamy, then I am saying to you that you will be able to be a success, right? And please do not leave God out of this. Don't leave God out of your polygamous marriage or even your polygamous marriage. The book, the scripture in the book of Matthew chapter 18, verse 20, it says something like, for where 2 or 3 gather together in my name, there I am with them, okay? So yeah, there's a lot that I didn't touch on because of time constraints. And I just want to make a promise. I just want to make a promise to you, ladies and gentlemen, that my book, Redefining Polygamy, will be available within a month or so. So I'm saying to you, till then, keep well, make sure that you are safe wherever you are, and please don't become a victim of coronavirus. But you know, above all, make sure that you will always seek to understand polygamy and life in general before jumping to conclusions. Make sure that you will always check first whether you have what it takes to be a polygamist before you can decide to go in there, to go in that space. And make sure that you will consider the power of the number 3. Should you find that there is a polygamist in you, please don't take a 22-seater and think that you will have the number of spouses who will be a full load in that 22-seater. And of course, make sure that your spouses are living together apart instead of trying to keep 2 women under one roof as a polygamist. That one is very dangerous. Don't ever do such a thing. And lastly, make sure that you are going to strive for excellence in making sure that you stay successful as a polygamist. Ntati, are you there? My chief.
I'm here.
Yes. Yeah, that was all I had for you today, and of course, thank you so much for the opportunity. And over to you, my brother.
Thank you very much, Coach. What an eye-opening presentation. And when I'm sitting here, I'm thinking that it's either you have set some people free, or you've buried some more deeper than they were in trouble. But we'll see as the questions and answers come through. I must say, Coach, that I've never seen so many people in attendance in any of our lectures. So I guess the topic was very important. Thanks to the leadership of Leadership Board. I don't know if maybe he was contemplating or or he's just realized, because as we say, ours is to share the information, bring the information to people so that people can make their own decisions. To start, while I'm waiting for questions, ladies and gentlemen, this is an interactive platform. Anyone can ask questions, and we'll go also on the chat boxes. I've got more people in our leadership in Facebook as well. Please, leaders, you'd help me with the questions from that side. The leadership CPA and the leadership Bo and Israel, I think, yeah. I've never heard of so many police in one in one lecture. I mean, so many police of what polygyny, polyandry, polyamory. Yeah, so I think, and also I think what is important, that what I've picked up also as you started, that is nothing in life will be meaningful unless you put an understanding to it. Because most of the times we want to jump to conclusion without the full information. And I think there's a dangerous thing in taking decisions without information. I think this is very important that you've raised here. And also the issue of generalizing. I think one needs to get information, as you shared, to say whatever they decide in life. Before we go to the questions, and also you've raised, I think the first question that I'll ask in terms of the polygyny, that is one man into many. And obviously you have, according to your book, recommended 3 in relationship. But now, this is when you need to get approval from first wife. The question is, what happens if she says no? Does that mean that is the end of it, or there's other options?
No. It shouldn't be the end of the road, my chief. Do you know a bamboo tree?
I've heard about it. I've never seen it myself.
Yes. If you take the seed of a bamboo tree and put it in soil, it will take something like 5 years before you can see it coming out of the soil. So it means for that 5 years, you will be busy watering the ground and without seeing anything. But take it from me, one day after that 5 years, you will see something coming up. And that's when you will start to enjoy that.
Coach, sorry, Coach, I don't know if
once it comes up, it grows so fast that you will wonder why all these years the seed was not even with. Hello, can you hear me, my chief?
Yes, I'm hearing you, but you're breaking. I don't know if I'm the only one. Leadership, could you hear?
No, it's breaking.
Okay, yeah. So leadership,
The
can I ask?
is breaking.
Yeah, maybe let's also stop your video again just to improve the line. Okay, I think I've done that. Okay, were you done with your answer?
Yeah. Basically, I was just using the analogy of a bamboo tree to say a bamboo tree takes long to come out of the soil once you have the seed buried there, and you will have to take that 5 years watering just the ground for you to see the plant coming up. So the same applies to a situation where you are having this woman who doesn't want to understand. Women are human beings, and sometimes the woman will be testing you just to check how serious you are about the whole matter. So you don't propose today and expect her to say yes tomorrow. It will take time. Just be there, hang in there, up until she can see the actual meaning. And most of those women who will take time before they can say yes are those who are also struggling to understand what polygamy is all about. That is why I was emphasizing the fact that there is no way in which one will give meaning to something that she doesn't understand.
Okay, thank you, Coach. Leadership, Bo, I saw your hand.
Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, Coach. And thank you so much for coming on to the request to this lecture. The reason why I raised the hand is maybe before I come up with my own question or comment. Musambewe. She is saying, I'm hearing less about the serious pain a woman's stomachs to have a man have his way on something that will cause her pain. My big worry is the children that will grow dealing with competition that will be exposed in. Has anyone ever asked what did Pina's children learn living observed their mother insulting her opponent? Ever in the instances where a woman suggests a man takes a second wife, she is still doing it pained. It always benefits one person, which is a man. Yeah, that's a comment I wanted to read from. It's meant towards the coach.
Can I quickly respond?
It's for you, Coach.
Yeah. I disagree with the comment. If it says this is just about a man, during the lecture, I deliberately stated the fact that we women are not lifeless objects. Women are human beings who can decide for themselves. And I can tell you, women who are in polygamy, they do enjoy that space. It is those who are outside that space who think that it is just about a man. And communication. Communication it's a very powerful tool. If as a man you will be a communicator, not only to the two wives, but also to your kids. I'm telling you, you can create this kind of a situation that will be enjoyed by everyone. I am saying to people that, especially as Africans, you must teach your kids something. This thing of calling, other children half brothers and half sisters, things like that. We don't have such concepts, in our, African language. A brother is a brother, a sister is a sister. So it is the responsibility of this man, because he is the one who starts this. And of course, he will go for the second wife, who will understand and agree. And then through the consent of the first one, then the whole arrangement now will come into existence. There are men who tried several, women, proposing that, how about you become my second wife? And there are those who said no. If she says no, then it means she is not wired for polygamy. So one day you will come across the one who is wired for polygamy, and make sure that all of you, the three of you, are going to enjoy that space.
Thank you, Coach. Let me read the comments before I note your hand, Leadership Israel and Leadership Trevor. I'll give you a platform just now. I want to read the comments here on our chat box. Mr. Mzwake says intriguing prospects under polygamy, but he says, do you know by any chance the prevalence of GBV with polygamous relationship? How common is it? I mean, GBV is rife in all sorts of relationships, but we seldom hear reported cases from partners in a polygamous relationship. Let's say there's also a comment from Zintle Ramashala. There will always be someone unhappy because of emotional neglect in the polygamy. And most people who opt for it are those who grew up without a father figure and they just want to close that void. Some they opt for polygamy just for security reasons, or they grew up in a polygamous home. This is just my take. And she also says that she stands to be corrected, and the polygamy, according to her, is part of emotional abuse. Your comment on those?
It is just unfortunate that we do have people, men to be specific, who are going into polygamy for wrong reasons. And those are the kind of men who are painting polygamy black. Let us not come to a conclusion because of those incidents that we know of. Let us go deeper into the subject itself and try to find out how can this be practiced. There are so many polygamists out there that people don't even know of. And those people, the kind of life that they are living is the one that anyone would like to see himself or herself living that kind of a life. So I'm appealing to men who went into polygamy for wrong reasons, those who are abusing women. And of course, yes, I also know of such cases, incidences where there is gender-based violence in a polygamous relationship, simply because this man, I don't know what is happening in his mind, in his head. So he is the cause of what is happening. Even if you can take that kind of a man and put him in a monogamous relationship, he will still be an abuser, because there is something about him that has to be corrected. But I can tell you, there are so many other people in monogamous relationships who are enjoying this. And you don't have to force anyone to be in polygamy. I know there are certain cultures. There are certain cultures where a woman will not have a say, okay, to find herself in that space. I think it is because of such cultures that people are seeing polygamy in a negative sense. And those are some of the things that we need to correct.
Thank you, Coach. Leadership Israel, you've got your hand raised. The floor is yours. Please unmute and talk to us.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Leadership, for the opportunity. I joined the lecture a bit later, so I missed maybe most, if not some of the content. But with what I've heard, and I was looking forward to this lecture because I personally love polygamy. I love polygamy. I believe in polygamy. There's just a few comments, but not questions, that I would like to make. to say polygamy in its own form is a true test of leadership.
Yes.
I'm saying this because I think you have to have certain qualities or elements for you to be able to be a polygamist. And if there's something that, you know, the presenter has said very well, is that polygamy is not for everyone. I believe it's in my belief that, you know, polygamy it's sort of an anointing that, you know, not everyone can just dive in polygamy for maybe humanly reasons. And I think, again, the comment I can make is that, you know, it will be difficult, very difficult, just like in one partner marriage. It will be very difficult, if not impossible, to be able to manage polygamous marriage if you do not subscribe to God or Christ as your head. So to me, it's sort of a mission impossible, because I think also what I wanted to say is, I think in most cases we reject polygamy, or we paint polygamy black because of, if I can use the word, selfish reasons. Because I do believe that if you opt for polygamy and you are anointed for polygamy as such, God will definitely give you the powers, the wisdom. Of course, if you subscribe to Him, will give you the powers and the wisdom to be able to manage polygamy. And it's unfortunate that, you know, there are other guys or men that unfortunately marry polygamy for, you know, wrong reasons. And we can't deny that. Of course, there is emotional abuse. Of course, there is economic abuse and all that. We can't even deny that, because those cases are there. But that itself doesn't paint polygamy as something out of the ordinary or something that is not supposed to be done. So I think, yeah, the selfish reasons is, in most cases, you know, we want my, it's my man, it's my child, my man, my home, my everything. And I think that's where, in most cases, as Africans, even to kill even the issue of, the element of Ubuntu, I think that's where we even went wrong. I can refer to Abraham, that knows very well to say, that child that he so think he struggled to get, God, proved to him to say, it's not your child. I can do whatever, in whichever manner that I want to order you with this child. So I think that's where a lot of us need to, cling to the book of life and learn so much from that story from Abraham. So I think that's the few comments that I wanted to make. But what I just wanted to highlight also that I like about polygamy is that, our God is a God of order. How many men that we know are cheating and, sleeping in 9 different households every night, yet they are married to one wife. So what I like about polygamy is that, it's transparency, there's order there. You are known to say, no man, Mr. Galagala today will be in Bochum, will not be here, but will be in Bochum. So there's no doubt of, I wonder where he is and all that. So there's transparency there, there's element of truth. And, to me, someone who is anointed with to be a polygamist is actually someone who's willing to give, share, the sense of giving definitely there, because it's not only economic, money, if I can put it, that children or people need, but there's love, there's comfort, and all that. So that's what I'm saying. If you are anointed to be a polygamist and subscribing to God, and leading the polygamy with His wisdom, then definitely there's nothing wrong with polygamy. I myself am from my maternal grandmother married to, and my paternal grandmother married to as well. I'm always asking my dad, when are you marrying? I'm willing to fund the the suit. So that's my contribution, leader. Thank you very much.
Thank you, leadership Israel, for your comment. I think he did say, coach, to say to generalize is being an idiot. So one has to get the information before they can decide on anything. And the V60 thing says the nation of Israel came from poly. And I also saw a comment about from Majaha Zulu. Generalizing and stigmatizing is what is killing our nation. Any comment on that leadership before Trevor comes in, and then leadership Bo will come after it?
Yeah, I think I agree fully with what Israel was saying, that we really need to make sure that we are also going to invite God once we are in that space, because a real man, is the kind of man who will always find himself on his knees, to talk to God about his kind of a situation. And if you're going to be that kind of man, obviously God will be there, to bless you, anoint you, and make sure that what you are asking for, you receive, and your things are just going to go well. So if as human beings, we can try to sort of eradicate what was in our minds, what we thought we know about polygamy, and sort of reprogram our minds while we are doing a research to say, all right, if there are these two sides where someone is in a polygamous kind of a relationship and things are not going well, when on the other side there are those people who are enjoying, polygamy, what can be done to assist those who are still doing it the wrong way, to assist those who still don't know what it is? Some people, they talk about polygamy as if it came yesterday. This is not something that came yesterday. It has been there for so long. And we have leaders, great men who came out of that kind of space. And today they are doing so well, teaching so many other people out there about life in general, from the things they gathered, they discovered by being in that kind of a space. But now those who don't understand it, I think fear is also playing a role here. The moment you hear people talking, polygamy and positive things about it, you start to look at this man sitting next to you and say, if this one can understand what these guys are saying, then it means somebody's coming. I mean, if he was not wired for polygamy, then you don't have to fear anything. He will not say, I'm going for polygamy just because we are talking about it.
Thank you, Coach. Thank you very much for your answer. Sir Leadership Trevor Rambuda, you had your hand raised earlier on.
Thank you a lot, Leadership. Sipo, I don't know, am I audible?
Yes, you are, very much so.
Beautiful. I actually had my hand down because what I said was actually raised by Leadership Bo there. But anyway, over and above what he said, there's something that I actually thought about asking as well. I think from my side, I do have the roots of, I wouldn't really call them the roots of polygamy, but somehow I've never been myself been judgmental towards it, and which sort of throughout my whole life up to the stage where I am, which sort of made me believe that the roots are there. But so when I was going through this the whole audio when Coach Lucas was talking, so I actually was on WhatsApp at the same time speaking to her, and the question was, hey, what you up to? I'm like, I'm listening to, I'm in the meeting. So she actually asked what the topic was about today, because in most cases she actually asked like, what's happening? So when I answered, the answer that I got was like, oh, so you do agree with them? and the answer on my side was, no, I'm just part of the meeting. It doesn't mean I agree with them. But deep down, I know that I do agree. But the question in mind is, how do you now go about? Although Coach Lucas has addressed it, that it takes time. He made an example of a tree that you plant, and it takes probably 5 years before it springs up and all that. But the question now becomes the fact that throughout the 5 years, I'm making that as an example, not saying that it's going to take 5 years. The whole process from day one until you get her to a stage that she accepts the fact that that's what she wants. what is happening with you? Is it gonna take you that whole 5 years to be now attached to someone until she gets to acknowledge the fact that this is what the guy wants? That process is probably cheating. So it means that you'll probably be cheating for 5 years until someone actually gets to the point where they accept. That is the first thing. But the second thing is, it was also noted that it's not for everyone. With the fact that it's not for everyone, does it now mean that you'll keep on trying to find the one that will actually accept it? You don't want to end in a situation where you keep on trying. So much trying is a bit of a problem as well, I think, because at the end of the day, you're probably going to try 10, 15, I don't know. I'm just trying to think of the tip of my head, but where do you set the limit, and how do you drive the whole process to a stage where it doesn't kill your moral? I don't know if you guys understand what I'm saying. It doesn't put you to a stage where you feel like, you know what, it's worthless. It's worthless. I've tried this, I've tried this one, but then at the end of the day, I'm still not in agreement. You understand? And with the fact that maybe you married already, it also play an effect on how you get the other one to accept and all that. So I just want to find out where do you draw the line? Thanks, leadership, Sipo.
Thank you, Sir Trevor. I think what he's really asking is to say, what do you do while you're still waiting for an answer? You keep on cheating. And I think another question to add to that, Coach, is to say, when exactly does one know that they are attracted to a polygyny relationship? Because, I mean, I would think it is unfair to get married to wife number one, and all of a Sunday, when you want a second wife without having prepared. I would think, from where I'm sitting, it would be, you can't be changing the rules of the game during the game. We'd rather say, listen, wife number one, I'm a person who believes in polygamy. At some time in the future, I'll look to marry number two, so that she comes in knowing exactly with what kind of a person you are. Surely it wouldn't be fair to ask for number two when number one is already in and we've never had a discussion about number two, number three, and number infinity.
Can I chip in?
Yes, Coach.
Can I chip in?
Yes.
Yeah, I've been listening to all the comments, and you know, I'm laughing here when someone was saying, now let us look at the 5 years. Does it mean that I am going to spend 5 years cheating? So I'm saying it will not necessarily be cheating for 5 years, because in this case, at least what you are doing is already known. You know, unlike someone who is out there hiding himself and making sure that no one is going to discover this. But once it is known, it is no longer, you know, cheating per se. And during that process, make sure that you are also going to involve other people, because, you know, sometimes someone will try to challenge you up until you call the people she respects, like parents and other people. And of course, your reasons for polygamy will also determine whether at the end of the day you are going to win her to say yes or not. Because if your reasons will be weak, then I mean, how do you expect, you know, that woman to say yes? Because there has to be reasons. That's why I was talking about attaching meaning to polygamy if you understand its purpose. So there has to be a valid purpose for you to introduce polygamy. Now, once you are clear, you know, with what is in your mind, then yeah, it will take time. But 5 years was just an example. With some, it will take months. Others, it will be, you know, just a month. You know, just to give this person, this human being, the chance to digest, especially your reasons for wanting polygamy. Once the reasons are clear, and even other people like parents can also come and say, yeah, but I think he has a point, then in that case, the woman will reconsider, and at the end of the day, then you will have her saying yes. And of course, with the second wife, to just be honest, you know, some people they start by basically cheating with that person. Now you see something in this woman and you say, oh, yeah. That's when you realize that if you become invested time and so many things in her as someone who's supposed to be your second wife for a very long time now, here is she now, you are introducing polygamy, and she is coming up with stories. You know, be strong, be this kind of a man who, when proposing a married man, but I am seeing, and these are my reasons. And make sure that she will also understand that what I am getting into today, okay, will not lead to marriage tomorrow, but the process that is starting is meant, you know, to end at the point where I will be the second wife, right? Then in the meantime, make sure that you are not going to fight that woman, your first wife, because you know other men, when this one will be saying no and fighting out of anger, you join her in fighting her to say, yeah, but why are you being selfish? Why are you being you know, things like that? You don't have to do that. Humble yourself up to a point where your reasons for wanting polygamy will make sense to her. That's how simple it is.
Thank you, Coach. Before I give to leadership, Bo, let me give a platform to Mayor Dipuo Ntlatleng. She's also part of the Friends of the SALGC. That's what I wanted to ask to say. Can I also have questions from the ladies? Because men seems to be on one side of the fence. It would be interesting to hear from women. Leadership,
yes, we need to hear them.
Leadership with Dipuo.
Thank you, leadership. And thank you, Coach Lucas. I think this is very interesting. And it would be very exciting to have seen more women on this platform so that we hear their point of view. Mine are more of comments than questions. I've been raised from a polygamous family, and the experience thereof will make me, you know, I should say, I applaud my dad because I never suffered any poverty, if I must say poverty. Instead, we were well raised, to be honest. The only challenge that I experienced that would have made me to date not to agree to a polygamous relationship is the relationship of our mothers. It was a terrible one. And one doesn't see the reason why was it supposed to be like that, because my dad was able to maintain both families equally. But I'm telling you, our mothers were up in arms for the rest of our lives, which made me sad to think about it, because at the end, it made my dad to become very stressful, and he developed, you know, stress-related diseases that took his life, which is very, very sad. What I want to say is to men who are looking at polygamous relationships, make me aware from the very first point of our relationship. When you marry your first wife, make her aware that this is what I have in mind, so that it doesn't become a surprise to me later in our lives that you want to marry a second wife. I should get into this relationship, I should get into this marriage knowing that my husband might want to marry in 5 years down the line, you know, so that I agree to it from the onset, so that you avoid this, you know, strenuous relationship between women, and meanwhile you are able to can afford to have those two wives. You know, like Coach Lucas said, it's one of the strategies to alleviate poverty. I agree. Because if I compare my life when I grew up to my peers, I lived the best life of my childhood, because there was no day in my life, or I would say we had almost everything that we wanted, which when I look at some lives now, I grew up better than a lot of families that I'm looking at now, because I might say my dad knew what he was getting himself into. So from this lecture, I'm looking at polygamy in a very different view from today, because from my background, I wouldn't have loved to have experienced what my mother and my aunt experienced. But if it's something that is put on the table and is discussed prior to it be happening, I think I've got a positive view, because polygamy to me now is better than cheating, to be honest. So yeah, thanks to Coach Lucas. And like I'm saying, I would have been very excited if there were more women on this platform than men, so that the understanding from the lecture that we got today, it makes me feel much better, and I'm viewing polygamy in a different way than I did before. Thank you.
Thank you, Leadership Dipuo. Thank you very much for your comment. I think it is, as I see the comments here, the people feel, Coach, that the time is too short for this to be really
yeah, I agree with them.
Unpack further. We'll speak to Leadership Upo to have a second session at some point, because clearly this is it's a hot topic. And I think that the aim of this platform is always to bring information, probably for people when they leave this, be at a better informed position for whatever decisions that they want to make, because it's not ours to force anyone to take a certain view, but it's to give the information so that people can choose for themselves. Do you want to have a comment, and then after that, a Leadership Paul?
Yeah,
after Coach's comment.
Okay. I just want to make a comment. In fact, I want to respond to what Dipuo has said. I'm saying to Dipuo, I agree with you that the first wife has to be informed right from the beginning. But situations differ, Dipuo. Situations differ. So sometimes you don't have this whole thing in mind at the time you meet the first wife. And circumstances will emerge at a later stage that call for polygamy. And it is for that reason that some men will start to talk about this at a later stage. And of course, you will shock her because you didn't say anything right at the beginning. But here are new circumstances that are saying to you, Chief, do something about the situations, or this is the end of the road. Now, at that time, when you explain to her, make sure that you also make her understand that the fact that age is that at the beginning you mentioned it in front of the two of you, a situation that needs to be addressed, and there is no other solution, to addressing the solution. The problem, except for introducing another person who will make you to be a polygamist. Can I just wrap up, perhaps?
Yes, you can.
Will I still get another?
No. You'll still have some opportunity. We've got about 10 minutes left. No, you've got 10 minutes left, Coach. Let me get hands first. A Leadership Bo, and then after that to Maria.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you, Leadership.
Let's go.
Thank you, Leadership Nkosi, and thank you, Coach Matjiane, for availing yourself for this very important lecture. Just quickly, I need to just put everything into perspective that SALGC, it's about family. We are about building family. We must all remember that since the Garden of Eden, the family has collapsed completely. And there's never been any attempt, as I always say, from any quarters, being it business or governments of this world, to try and resuscitate family and to bring it. And that is why today we're having homeless children full on the streets, which is fashionable, that we see now people sleeping under the bridges and all that, and it becomes normal. We cannot see that as normal. In SALGC, we believe that a family must be there. Whatever it takes, we need to build family. So I was excited when Coach Lucas agreed that he will come and do this lecture, because for me, what is important is rebuilding the fallen family and to bring it back. So there's always going to be opposition and criticism on what is not a norm, or what the media is not talking about, or what we did not grow up being taught. And it's true that there are challenges in monogamous marriages all the time, the same way as I've seen a comment that says emotional abuses in a polygamous marriage. It is true. There's always a challenge everywhere in any relationship. And this leads to one thing, leadership. This leads us to one thing, which is leadership. And if you are a man and you get to a point where you are going to have to, your leadership prior to that should be able to tell to your partner that this relationship or this direction that your marriage is going to be taking now, it's for a good cause, because you are a leader in your own standing. Your leadership as a foundation of that family has always been in the right direction. But let's say I'm a man of pubs and shebins and umnandini, I'm never ever home, and I'm known for having multiple relationships and stuff like that. And I come to my wife and say, let's sit down and talk about this polygamous thing, this must happen and whatever. Of course, there's going to be some resistance. So in a way, Coach has already addressed it, that no, it's not for everyone. Know yourself and know if you have what it takes to be there. So for me, in summary, is look at polygamy as a thesis. Look at monogamy as a thesis, and it's got its own challenges. Let's not run away from that. It's brought here for me and then me and then me, and a woman will always say it's me, it's for me and whatever. And not understanding that when you are a woman and you get married, you are going there to help build that family. That's what it is. It's not about you. It's about the family that you're going to build. The same with a man. A boy child, when he grows, it's about the seed that is in you that you're going to build this family. Let me just try the Satanist. Satanist, if you read that far and get to understand all these other religions, they are basing their religion on the synthesis of what a religion of the Bible of God says. I'll make you an example. In God, or in the religion of God, lineage is always from the man's side.
Please wrap up, Coach. Check.
Yeah, lineage is always from the man's side. That's what it is. But when it comes to satanic religion, they make lineage from the female side. So that means it's breaking the family, ensuring that the family completely collapses. So a man will fail to run quickly and get a second wife because he's scared. So in a nutshell, your leadership quality should be able to convince a woman that I stand in the shoulders of my great-grandfathers and everyone. So I need to build this family. And this is what you came here to help me build this family. So your leadership should be the one that dictates, not forcing a relationship into a woman and making her build with you, because you are going to sabotage yourself. The family is going to collapse. Thank you, leadership.
Thank you, leadership coach. Let me squeeze in, I hope it's Kim Maria. Please, the platform is yours.
Thank you, Chairperson. Am I audible?
Yes, you are. Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you. I would like to greet everyone on the platform and thank you for inviting me. I'm one person who doesn't believe in marriage, but now I've listened and there's something that I would like to get a clarity, though I'll be offline from 6 o'clock, but I'll try to just say, because one of the things, it's like marriage is about empowering women. And then my belief is not all women are from disadvantaged background. So what if maybe you are married, never thought you're gonna be interested in other women, but keeping the first marriage, have that relationship with somebody out there who can sustain herself, but open to your first wife. And because the second wives always are the ones who usually, I would say, advantage with information, because umamkulu won't know, but you'll be secretly seeing each other. How about you get that in that relationship whereby you'll be seeing each other, even mamkulu knows there's mawane, but not married, but still seeing each other. I don't know what type of a relationship is that, but I think around those areas, to keep peace, not to put mamkulu into pressure of accepting the second wife. Thank you.
Thank you, Maria. Coach, you are better to define the different poly. This one is when there's mamkulu, there's mamngani out there. Mamkulu knows about mamngani, but mamngani is not married to the husband. What is that? And
he's not gonna be married. She doesn't want marriage, but she's saying this, but Mamkul mustn't be worried that Mamngani will be a second wife.
Oh, but she's getting the benefits of being a wife, but she's not married.
Yes, emotionally and maybe it's emotionally and what's physically, but let's say maybe she can sustain herself.
Okay.
Financially so.
So that's the only exclusion. Coach,
yes.
The only exclusion on this one is economical dependence. It's not there. What is one called?
Yeah. I think I'll have to go and seek for the name for that, because, you know, as human beings, we do have different preferences, and such preferences will always compel people like me who write books, who do researches, you know, just to, you know, come up with a name and say, okay, if there is something like this, what can we call it? But yeah, that is something that I will look into. I just want to quickly go back to what Bo was saying, to say, yes, I agree with you, leadership, that, you know, this whole thing is about I'm mentioning in my book is that in my village, people cutting trees, you know, these 20 trees, and then they will take the tree and put it in front of the door, okay, the front door of that house. And when you ask why, how are people going to get into that house when there is such a thing, you know, blocking the door? They say, no, that is an indication that in that house are old age. So there is no one remaining. Now, what does that mean? It means, like I spoke about the dinosaurs, that family lineage is gone because the last person who was supposed to be is now gone. So that's where polygamy comes in, ladies and gentlemen. We use polygamy to save our families, to save our family needs.
Thank you, Coach. Thank you, Coach.
Surely I was just responding, not closing.
Yes, no, it's fine. I'm going to give you an opportunity.
Okay.
As you close, there's a question which was saying, can a polygamous relationship survive in the modern society where power dynamics in a relationship dominate on the female side? Both wives each earn more than the husband. I hope my question is not fake. That is from Leadership Mzwake Vilani. And I think on Facebook we did not have questions, but I think one of them was answered about the request for approval from number one. And then another comment says, thank you, Tate Matjiane, for a well-presented lecture on this very interesting subject, polygamy, or as you put it, a polygyny status. Coach, let me thank you for taking the opportunity to come. Let me give you an opportunity to wrap up your final cutting statement.
Yeah, thank you very much. I just want to say to everybody that, guys, polygamy can exist in whatever situation, whether we are talking about the modern day situations where you find women earning far more than the man is earning. It depends on the kind of the person you are. Where there is communication, where people can sit down to address issues, then a polygamy will always be able to exist in that kind of situation. But now, especially to women who are still saying no to polygamy, especially those who are not married, I just want to let you know something, that we have a very high percentage of men who are in jail as we speak. And some men are becoming gays, thus reducing the number of men who can marry women even further. And we will have another high percentage of men who are dying from drugs almost every day. And the last time I checked, the ratio of men to women was 1:4. If every woman has to find herself in a relationship with someone she can call her husband, then we will have to have each man having 4 women. That's according to statistics, even though I was recommending 2, because I know it is not everyone who will understand what we are talking about today, even though we are trying to emphasize what we have been emphasizing. And if the ratio is as is now, it simply means that more women will remain single till they die. And of course, we will still have more children without the father figures, to a point where a high number of them will go into drugs like nyaupe, further, and I'm saying further, reducing the very number that is already a concern as we speak. Now we have polygamy as a tool that we can use to try and find a new balance. It will take time, because many people, are still wondering, what is he talking about? But with time, I believe if we can allow ourselves and give ourselves enough time to think and rethink polygamy, talk to other people, read books, attend seminars, attend webinars, go out there. There are conferences, many platforms that can give you information in as far as polygamy is concerned. And should we do that as a nation, I promise you, at the end of the day, we will be understanding this to a point where we will accept what is happening.
Thank you very much, Coach. Let me take this opportunity to thank you for coming through and for such information that you've shared with us. And I can tell you that there's a popular demand for a second bite of the same subject in the future, so we'll arrange accordingly. I think now you've given us information, people will go back and research further, and probably when they come back, they've got better informed in terms of the information and ask pertinent questions. Thank you very much for everyone for coming through. Please join us in this club as Friends of the Subject Women, and also men. Log on to www.salgc.org.za, be part of the change that you want to see in the community. Thank you very much, Coach, for your information and taking time to come through without being paid a cent. That is what we call here serving the nation. And God did not create us for our own purpose, but also to be blessings and our purpose is also to be helping other people, do it for other people as well. We thank you for this special lecture, and thank you everyone for coming through. Let's see each other on the second week, after second week for another mind empowering session. Thank you very much, Coach. Thank you everyone for coming through. Have a super weekend. Thank you. Cheers.
Thank you, leadership.